This is Electric EUEyes, and on my last video, I had a comment from a viewer named Graham Hurlston Jones saying, I completely agree. Continents were closer and less water, so no problem getting around. One world civilization. As for the water, yes, Saturn. It has to be. And Mars will be the same if there is any under the ground. I don't think so. Jupiter and Saturn were brown dwarf stars, maybe from two separate solar systems. Yep, and here we are. Thanks for your work. Love it. I need to learn more to understand Table Mountain and Cape Town. Maybe you can spend 5 minutes on Google Earth. Personally, I am in Robert Burke's camp of a near impact with Venus, and it crafted the whole of the east coast of Africa right around to Cape Town at the bottom. I think the land got pulled like a blanket. When you get 5 minutes. Well, Graham, I read your comment and I went and started playing around and did some screen recording. So let's take a look.
Table Mountain, Cape Town.
This already looks really cool. McClear's Beacon. From this viewpoint, it looks like there is a motion towards the right. You can see the momentum. Looks like it's lifting up. You can see the layering in here and the dendritic ridges. And this one here is quite interesting. The same formations I see on top of Enchanted Rock, which is a giant pink granite batholith dome in the center of Texas. And these batholith forms are everywhere. Look at all these rocks. To me, it looks like it was layered up from the left and then moved off to the right. So that wind was pulling those things together. You can see even the form on this. You got that top ring, kind of looks like a turtle shell. You can see it layered together. And if I could get an even closer zoom in there, we would have seen a bunch of holes all pinched together. So again, to me, this does not look like it was eroded away. I think it was stacked and layered that way. And again, you can still see the fluid movement. So this is going to be a combination, in my opinion, of oceans and extremely high pressure winds, plasma, things from the sky, all transpiring at the same time to form all of this. Right here on the right, you got these little nodules sticking out. That's where I think the filament would have lifted off last on those little round formations. And this, again, dendritic ridges on the edges, and then you have just this pure, sharp, razor sharp top. And then look at the bottom. From the left to the right here at this tip end, it just swoops right up. You can see the movement of the storm that's not only pushing, but also pulling and sucking up these winds. A high pressure and a low pressure system meeting together would be like an eddy. If you know what an eddy is, just imagine water. You got your bathtub full of water and you pull the drain plug out. The water's going to start spinning out. Well, for that water to go down, you have to have air coming up. It's the complete opposite side of the spiral. A Birkeland current would have counter-rotating forces moving in opposite directions. So high pressure, low pressure, they meet, something gets sucked up, something gets pushed down. And then you've got the opposite angles. And you're going to have straight line winds in there. You're going to have straight ridge lines formed. Same thing with some of these valleys being carved out. It's a positive and negative thing. So something is being added and something is being removed at the same time. It's very dramatic. All right, so we have Table Mountain here, just south of Cape Town. And if I start zooming in on this, again, here's the first thing I see is look for the patterns, right? So if I zoom in this way and look at the 3D structure of it, you can see where these mountains are risen over here. There's a gap separating. It rises again. You have this area over here. And all of these pinch down in the middle. Again, you've got this triangular form over here. And then you have these striation lines going through the top and somewhat cross-hatching, crisscrossing each other. You've got this little lonely spire right here. Still, that's pretty cool. So I would imagine this is being built up on this peak. the same way this is being built up. So I don't think that this was necessarily etched away, but it could be building up and being etched away in succession. It's going to depend on how much the oceans rose and over what periods of time. So again, there's things could have happened suddenly in one single event, but there could again be concurrent events happening. So anyway, if we go back here and let's just start zooming out. All right. First of all, here's another thing that I want to notice on Cape Town is this line right here. We've got this ocean shelf that seems to just come out and then end, right? So it's just something I want to note right now. And look at the tip of South Africa. There's that straight line that goes from the top right all the way to the bottom left. If we go a little further, this line right here goes all the way down here. And all of these lines kind of match up if there was something happening, like this continent is being stretched over the mantle as this is blowing up like a balloon. So you had mentioned, was Cape Town ever connected to South Antarctica and South America? I absolutely believe so. And I also believe that wherever these continents were connected, you would have also connected right here with Australia. So again, we're looking for patterns. So look at these straight lines going down here, stretching down to this point. Before, we got this sinuous shape that goes all the way right there to the coastline of Australia. All right, well, let's go over a little bit further. And again, we've got those straight lines. We've got those straight lines here going all the way to the coast. And then you got this wonky, wacky stuff on top, right? So if you just look at these sinuous lines going right here right through the middle of Asia. And then, okay, that's all on land. And if we go this way onto the ocean, we've got those same sinuous lines stretching around in this pattern that, again, if this was a balloon and it had the Earth printed on the outside, I'll let the air out. And let's just say the continents were some paper mache that I put on the outside of the Earth. If I let that air out of the balloon, is it going to shrink back together? Anywhere there's ocean, if it's not a hard paper mache on the outside, would it fit back together? I've seen other people do it. I've never done it, but I'm thinking about doing it now. Again, I see too much movement in the ocean that matches patterns. I've been an artist my whole life. I've been in construction work as well, from paints, concrete, all these different things, epoxy materials, certain movement in fluids that you get. Even when you weld, when you're arc welding, you're leaving behind a certain pattern depending on how you weld, what your settings are, what materials you're using. I stand with the fact that I think that Earth was wrapped in plasma within a Birkeland current that was highly energized, and there was a transfer of energy from one star to another. I do agree that at some point in time, Earth was all conjoined. I've questioned all of these crazy things that I've heard myself, including the changes of the calendars. How come before 365 days, it's not exactly 365, but before that change happened, why was it 360 days in a year? And prior to that, it was an even shorter timeline. And there was at one point, it was the days of the month, which was the moon cycle. And time was kept on a calendar by the moons before the sun ever even showed up. And we started measuring our time with how much we're evolving around the sun. So why was there ever a time before the calendar around the sun was the calendar based off of the moon? Maybe because we didn't have the sunlight that you and I know today. So, I do believe this is a giant puzzle piece, a spherical capacitor that expanded when we had the addition of water and the pressures of the Earth changed because our cosmic environment changed. I think it's a transgression or a transmission of the electrical power change between what we call stars. I don't think the sun has been there billions of years the same way it is today, along with the moon, along with the Earth. I think it's all changed places. The sun has been there, obviously, a long time. I don't know. I don't know any of the actual times, but I just know everything I've been taught kind of sounds phony, especially when I dive into the true meanings and interpretations of ancient writings. Taking everything off of a comparison basis and just not taking anybody's word for it. I'm not 100% convinced on any one theory because there's still theories. Maybe when I die, I'll let you guys know with a video update what the realities are. All right, man. Thank you for that question. That was awesome. Keep those questions coming. And for those of you that decide to help me with my laboratory, if you make a donation to paypal.me/electricuniverseeyes and need to share a message or call your name out on a future video, please leave that in the PayPal comment and I'll share that. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks. Bye-bye.